What's up, guys? Welcome to Verse of the Day, number 23, I believe. Today, we are back in the original setup, whatever you want to call it. It is basically right under my monitor. And yeah, so I did have a question, but I just forgot. So if you have a question for me, let me know down in the comments. Yeah. Okay. So today's verse comes from John chapter 13, verse 34. And oh my gosh. Excuse me. Okay. John chapter 13, verse 34 says, A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. That's verse 35 as well. So, oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a bit of cold. If you could not notice the last couple of days. So these verses are honestly very straightforward, right? Jesus gives a command to love one another just as he has loved us, and he has shown us that love in many different ways, and specifically the example he is referring to even in this time is, and this is before he had been crucified, right? Being with them and showing them the ways to live as a follower of Christ and the standards in which Jesus has for us and how he serves, right? He did not come to the earth to be served, but to serve. And that is his example to us on how to love others, is to serve others, to be a good gift giver, to sacrifice, to obey. And oh, this cold is so annoying. He gives a command, which, right, we have the 10 commandments, and then he says, a new command I give to you. Love one another. That is the command. Love one another. And then he goes on and it kind of explains what that is. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. So he's saying to love one another, but then he gives the example of himself. Love others how I have loved you. And then he says in verse 35, by this all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So this is also a very key and important point as Christians to know that the world, right, and I refer to the world as anyone who is not a follower of Christ, or anyone who's not currently walking with Christ, who's not currently a follower of Christ. And there's a difference between believing and following Christ, which I will get into that in a different episode, maybe one day. So by this, all men will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. So the world will know, right? People who are followers and people who are not followers of Christ will know that you are a follower by the way that you love others. So if you are loving others the same way that Jesus has loved the disciples, the apostles, the saints, if you are loving others the same way that Jesus loves you, and that is how the world will know that you are a follower of Christ. And we want the world to know that we are a follower of Christ. Not that we're like shouting from the rooftops, I'm a follower of Christ, blah, 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 to try and make yourself known, but they will just see you and your love for others, and they will know that you are a follower of Christ. Not by having to tell them, but instead by seeing your love for others, they will know. So and there's also couple other verses somewhere else in John 15. I am the vine, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be more fruitful. And then that was verses 1 and 2. I'm trying to find the one where he says they will know you. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be given to you. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Now remain in my love. Verse 10. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have obeyed my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. So, right, he's saying the exact same thing, just a couple, days later or whatever this is. And then he says, John 15:13, greater love than has no one than this, that he lays down his life down for his friends. So, and then he says in verse 17, this is my command: love each other. So, right, Jesus' main point was to love one another. Love one another as he has loved you, and you have witnessed his love, whether you have acknowledged it or not. You've witnessed his love. His blessings, as I've talked about multiple times in the last couple of days, his blessings, everything in this room, everything outside of this room is a blessing from Jesus. That I've been able to walk in nature, that I've been able to live, right? The blessing of life, and to have lived as long as I have. I mean, I'm only 17 years old, but that and alone, like, not everyone gets to live that long. And I am very blessed to have been able to live this long. So, basically, love one another as Jesus has loved you. Jesus loves you. Thanks for watching. Peace out.